All right, let's get to the mailbag. People loving the mailbag, emails pouring in about the mailbag. Info@davidpakman.com is the place to write to. Abuse it and lose it. 120 viewers now auto-filtered into the trash because they are sending too many emails. Okay, let's get right into it. One of the best parts of when we stream large live events like a Trump rally or a debate or whatever is lots of people looking for coverage of that event who have never heard of our show stumble across the stream. And this generally is a great thing. It's one of the fastest ways that we grow our new audience. The downside, maybe it's sort of like a funny, it's a mixed bag, is people who are right-wing nuts who stumble across our coverage and then get really mad when they realize that they are watching a left-wing stream. And I got a bunch of those. Thanks to the Trump rally. AR wrote in, you're an absolute arsehole. I continued listening to Trump's speech, but am sickened by your idiotic commentary. Learn a bit of history, you arsehole. You're more interested in giving a commentary on the audience than anything of importance in the speech. That's absolutely untrue, and I take issue with it. Can't wait to see you give applause during Joe's next garbled, unintelligible, lie-ridden diatribe to 6 people. I can't think of any time I've applauded during a Joe Biden speech. Finishing with Y-O-U-R. It's almost legally required in hate mail that the wrong your versus your is used. You're a total C word sent from my iPhone. Okay. So this is one of the greatest parts about covering Trump rallies. People just looking for the rally stumble across and are highly triggered. And people just looking for the rally stumble across us and go, hey, I like this guy. I'm going to subscribe to the channel. Similarly, Mitchell wrote in all capital letters about our coverage of the Trump rally, who said, Mr. Pakman, misspelled, of course. As a conservative American, I love my country. I love our Constitution. And people like you are pathetic libtards. The way they love the Constitution is weird because much of what Trump said during the rally was completely indicative of not caring at all about the Constitution. Do society a favor. I'm choking over the words. Do society a favor and commit suicide. I think they meant suicide. Get the F out of my country. What a country we live in, folks. What a country. Don't know that there's much more commentary to make about Mitchell's email. And then lastly, as many of you know, Alex Jones recently went after us, Infowars conspiracy theorist going after me for looking like a predator and not taking live phone calls, which of course we do. He attacked the bonus show as well.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Yeah. And here's a message from Bobby, who was really pleased with the Infowars segment. Watch Infowars today. Ha, ha, ha. It was very sweet watching you get completely busted on Infowars. You are a total loser. Suck it, a-hole BS artist. What I love about that particular message is that Alex Jones is so diminished in his audience because he's been kicked off every real platform. He's off YouTube. He's off Facebook. I think he's off Spotify. I don't know. He has almost no platform left. So at the end, I only got 2 emails and 1 voicemail from people who saw the Alex Jones segment and agreed with him. It's really something how his platform has just evaporated almost completely. All right, next is Kate. Kate has a good, let's get now to the substance. Kate wrote in, why do far-right Republicans keep burning things? Hey, David, as a frequent listener, you piqued my curiosity when you mentioned Carhartt's vaccine mandate for employees and how that caused right-wing customers to burn their own clothing. I couldn't help but see a parallel between this and the Nike items being burned and destroyed after Colin Kaepernick protested police brutality and racial inequality in 2016. Well, also remember when they threw their Keurigs out the window. Why do far-right Republicans keep burning things? What does this accomplish? What's next? Books? But yes, books. The planet, they're already doing that. I truly don't understand. This might be worth inviting a guest on your show with a background in psychology or something of the like to discuss and investigate further. Thank you for being such an honest, engaging source of truth. Yeah, if anybody, I don't know exactly who would have expertise in this, but it would be very interesting to speak to someone who can explain psychologically this phenomenon of burning stuff and the flame retardant Carhartt clothes impervious to burn attempts from their very people. It's, I mean, you really can't write this stuff, but if anybody can suggest such a guest as Kate is mentioning, we would be glad to reach out to them. Christoph writes in about couldn't care less. David, sir, I watched your segment today about the poorly capitalized Tucker Carlson Today show and his misogynistic propensity for a patriarchal society. There was audible cheering in my house when Carlson's guest said, I could care less about what people call him, and you stopped the clip to correct the statement. Absolutely. Using that phrase incorrectly drives me insane because it makes zero sense to the point of the individual supposedly not caring. It is very common to hear it phrased incorrectly, even by highly educated people. Thank you for correcting it. Why do you think it's so difficult for people to use couldn't instead of could for the phrase? I don't know. I mean, guys, listen, think about it logically. If you could care less, you're saying you care, right? Imagine the phrase, I could care less, but I actually care more. So the correct phrase is, I couldn't care less. I care so little, I couldn't possibly care any less because I already care zero. Please, guys, please go out there into your communities and do what you can to make sure that the phrase is used correctly. I appreciate Christoph noticing my commitment to that phrase. And quite frankly, I could care less about how the phrase is used. And by that, I mean, I care. I hope that that's clear to everybody. Stephen wrote in with an existential question and wrote, are traditional peanut butter cookies actually candy? Traditional peanut butter cookie recipes consist of peanut butter, sugars, eggs, and sometimes vanilla. Is it candy? So I think the answer is no. And I'm going to give you two reasons why. First of all, many peanut butter cookies as their primary ingredients have peanut butter and or flour. Now, I know that there are peanut butter cookie recipes that contain no flour. And so you've got peanut butter, and then often it's a very high amount of sugar. I still think that they're not candy. I think we could consider them junk food, but candy typically has as the primary ingredient sugar or chocolate. Like chocolate-based candies would have chocolate and then sugar. So I don't think, and this is a question of paramount importance, I don't believe that peanut butter cookies can be qualified as candy, but I am open to having my mind changed on that. All right, here's a really important email I got. Last week during the Tucker Carlson Patriarchy Jason Whitlock segment, I said that I don't have any problem exploring questions about men and women, that they're, preemptively shutting down areas and saying we can't talk about that. I have a problem with, but we need to understand what it is we're looking to do with that information and whether we actually already have the information, and claiming that we're just asking questions is a way to troll because we already know the answers. I got an email that from a female fan who said, David, flirting with misogyny. David, listen, I just watched your video called Tucker Guest Says Patriarchy is Good. And I was a little put off by the way you spoke about it. Sure, you acknowledged that the idea of a natural patriarchy is wrong, But then you said you're open to investigating potential biological differences like math aptitude. My goodness. Imagine you said you're down to investigate whether Asians are biologically better at math than whites. It's been investigated. They're not. Or whatever. Come on now. I get that most of your audience are likely dudes, but I think they can handle it. No need to coddle their egos in this way. This is a really sad email. It is now 2022 and it blows my mind. Even educated humans like yourself are still saying S like this. Just sounds ignorant, sir. I'd even say you're flirting with misogyny. I'm a fanboy. I'm a fan, but boy, that was disappointing to hear. I could not disagree with this more strongly. I am against saying, here's a list of questions you can't explore at all. You just can't explore it. I mean, listen, guys, if it turned out women were way better at cardiothoracic surgery for some reason that didn't relate to economics or geography or whatever, right? Like if women were just, we researched it and we determined there is something inherent. Women are better at cardiothoracic surgery. I would want to go to a woman for cardiothoracic surgery. Now, it might turn out that because of historical oppression against men in that field, we're making this up, that there's really there's an observable difference which we can explain to discrimination. I would also want to know that. Why would we say that can't be looked at? So I think it's very dangerous when folks take this approach that you can't even ask these questions. The issue I have is that these questions have been asked for a long time and we have answers to just about all of them. And as I pointed out, there's no evidence that women are less capable for jobs other than circumstances in which there may be a physical limitation. Okay, listen, you got to lift 200 pounds and many men and most women can't lift 200 pounds. So you're restricted to mostly men and a small percentage of women who can lift 200 pounds. Okay, well, we've got an explanation. But I am very concerned about these things where these things cannot even be explored. Part two, by the way, is if you explore things like this in a fair way, the imperative is, what are you going to do with the information? Is the information going to be used to discriminate? Is the information going to be used to insult or even worse? That's also a factor. So I am not one of these just asking questions people, and every question I ask is being asked specifically and in bad faith to justify discrimination. The more of these questions that get asked, the more we learn that discrimination is inappropriate and it's wrong and it's unproductive. Okay, but the email saying you can't even ask that's not the left I recognize. That's not the left I recognize at all. Okay, last email here from William, offering pardons to the rioters. Isn't Trump also signaling to future rioters that he will pardon them, thus setting the stage for election-related riots in the future? Yes, to some degree. So at the Conroe, Texas rally, when Trump said, first of all, not only did he say we may pardon some of the rioters, he also said we're going to have some of the biggest protests ever, sort of, again, alluding to more violent protests, because that's what a lot of his followers want to do. He absolutely is starting to plant a seed about future potential repeats in different contexts of what happened on January 6th. And his devout followers know it. They recognize it. And it's very, very dangerous. What we have to do is prevent Trump from being in a position to be able to convince people to do that. Send your emails to info@davidpakman.com. We have a great bonus show for you today. Sign up at joinpakman.com and you will get instant access to today's bonus show.